I've applied to about 150 jobs between October to now.
Just know that I applied to 1,623 companies before I got my current job offer.
Why are all of these places hiring? Won't hire someone.
So, here's the lie we've all been sold. Go to school, get good grades, earn a degree, then the job offers will roll in. But for so many people around the world, that promise is broken. You've done everything right. You've studied hard, maybe even gone into debt, did unpaid internships, built a resume, applied to hundreds of jobs. And what do you get? Crickets. Ghosting. Rejections from entry-level roles that somehow require 3 years of experience. Meanwhile, headlines are screaming about record low unemployment rates. Sounds like the economy is booming, right? But here's the truth. The job market might be record low for unemployment overall, but is anybody truly hiring? Behind those stats is a growing number of qualified, talented, desperate people, especially young graduates, who can't get a foot in the door. In this video, we're unpacking why degrees no longer impress recruiters, ghost listings, where these issues stem from, and look at what the solutions are. Let's talk about it. Hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever video here at the Social Pomegranate. Today we will discuss how difficult it is to land a job in this economic climate, how ghost jobs are much more prevalent, and how nobody appears to be hiring, no matter your qualifications or skill sets. If you like this video and enjoy video essays, opinion pieces, cultural discourse, film and character analysis, then you are at the right place, so please subscribe, like, grab something to snack on or to drink, and let's get started. Chapter 1. Your degree or education, they don't even matter anymore. Every year, graduates swarm the job market, hopeful and fresh out of university with a degree they spent a fortune on. Then the job applications start rolling in, one by one. First of all, I would like to say that it is insane that people have to apply to 100 plus jobs in order to get an interview or two. Back in the day, you could just go to your local grocery store, hand them a CV, and that was it. I'm really curious, comment down below how many applications you had to send before landing an interview. Now people with whole degrees can't even get cashier jobs anymore. I've seen so much discourse around how Gen Z doesn't want to be working. It's honestly not that. Nowadays, employers no longer respect the time and money you invested into getting an education and preparing for a future role. Even Forbes writes that Gen Z is fast becoming known as one of the most entrepreneurial generations to date, with a survey from WP Engine finding that 62% of Gen Zers had plans to start their own business someday. And you have to when nobody's hiring. The trajectory that we have all been fed growing up, which is that if you go to school and work hard, you will get hired, make a good living, eventually buy a house, start a family. Even though for 99% of working young people, buying a house has become more and more out of reach, but that should be a whole separate video. This trajectory is evidently very outdated given what's currently happening with the economy, cost of living, and the lack of fruitful and stable jobs. Truth is, more people than ever have degrees now, making it clear that having a bachelor's or a master's degree won't set you aside in a pool of candidates. Instead, it seems like referrals, connections, or other transferable skills is what helps people get their foot in the door. Chapter 2. Everybody's hiring, but the job listings are fake. Apparently, the job market is booming, with a record low of unemployment, which is 4.1% according to OECD. But how accurate is it? Just because a lot of jobs are posted online, it doesn't mean that anybody's actually hiring. Yep, we're not just competing with other applicants, we're also competing with phantom job posts designed to waste our time. According to a 2024 report on My Perfect Resume, about 81% of recruiters say that their employer posts ghost jobs, gigs that either don't exist or that are already filled. According to an internal review of data by hiring platform Greenhouse, 1 in 5 job postings are fake or a ghost job. Fortune writes that one job seeker says he applied to over 1,700 roles, but didn't hear a peep from recruiters until venting about the situation on TikTok. In 2024, 40% of unemployed professionals said that they didn't have a single job interview that year. So let's get into it. Why? Why would anybody do that? I got an idea. It's because they're sociopaths. Or maybe not. Maybe that's an exaggeration. But what is certain is that companies genuinely don't care about wasting applicants' time. Here are some key reasons outlined in Resumes Builder report, but we will go through them one by one, and I'll also add some that I found in other sources. So reasons behind ghost listings include talent pipeline building. HR wants to collect resumes for the future. My thoughts on this is that it almost never works. How many of you actually got reached out by a recruiter on email because you submitted a CV months ago? Next one is market research. They want to see how many applicants they can get, what skills are out there at the moment, and especially when they ask, what are your salary expectations, they are trying to test the water to see what payment people might be expecting for this job, so they know how low they can go. Appear competitive. This makes the company look like it's growing, even when it's not. This can then entice investors to pump even more money to the company or the business if it looks like they're in a boom already. Then, it is making current employees believe that somebody will be coming in the future to alleviate their stressful workload. But nobody's coming. Compliance. For some roles, especially in public sectors or big corps, they legally have to post a job publicly, even if they hire somebody internally, or if the hire has been already decided through connections or referrals. The last one is a bit grim, but sometimes they also do it because it psychologically scares the current employees when they see that their own job has been listed online. They feel like they have to overperform when they see that the company might appear to look at replacing them. I know, that's messed up. Chapter 3. Is the fact that nobody's getting hired HR's fault? Well, yes and no. It's complicated. When it comes to ghost listings, I absolutely think that HR is not innocent because they are willingly wasting people's time and getting their hopes up for nothing. Don't even get me started on how they ask applicants for a cover letter and to basically re-put their entire information that they had in their CV into a different platform before the applicant even gets to meet with another human being. A cover letter is just another term for a glorified fanfiction about you working for a company or a business, and HR doesn't discriminate. For both real and non-real jobs, they still ask for a cover letter, and I think that's just vile. I personally have never been a fan of the ATS, which is a short for the Applicant Tracking System, and it is used by almost every employer that has advertised a job online. It is essentially an AI machine designed to scan your CV for keywords and then dump it in the yes or no pile. For me, this seems kind of dehumanizing, as you shouldn't let a machine judge a real human being's potential based on some magic little keywords that have to be sprinkled in there. Plus, there will be a lot of services that are taking advantage of this and trying to sell you your own AI keyword CV customizer to help you tailor your CV for applications. Yes, in this society where there is a problem, we don't fix it, we just sell people another thing to make it less of a burden. And at the same time, given that on LinkedIn sometimes you can see that 100 people applied for a job within the first few hours of it being live, it makes it harder for HR to go through each CV manually. What's more is that according to Resumes Builder report, the majority of hiring managers, aka 43%, said that they found it to be an acceptable practice, with only 10% saying that they found it unacceptable. Not all hiring managers, but definitely most. However, it is important to note that not all of these issues stem from HR only. When it comes to real jobs, things are not so black and white. After all, HR too are employees and following some orders from above. HR departments have been hit by massive layoffs recently. Essentially, some are arguing that they are understaffed and not enough money from higher-ups is invested into this department. Forbes writes that in 2023, 98% of HR professionals self-reported that they were experiencing burnout, while 94% said that they felt overwhelmed and 88% of respondents said that they dreaded work. And this inevitably makes it harder for a smaller number of people to deal with more applications than ever. If teams used to have about 50 people, now they'd be having 10. And with all the wave of massive layoffs in other fields such as tech, it means that those people plus new graduates are going back into the job market applying for work amongst all the other people who are already looking for work. TechCrunch writes that by March 2025, more than 88,000 employees were laid off. Those people all need to go back in the workforce somehow, which makes the market, say with me, overcrowded, oversaturated, and fighting for lesser jobs than normal. Chapter 4. Where do we go from here? So, we discussed that the job market is essentially flawed, degrees don't guarantee anything, listings have a high chance of being fake, and hiring is a mystery. So where do we even go from here? Here are some solutions I thought would be good for us to keep in mind. For you as an individual, you can firstly adapt your job hunting strategy. If your budget allows you, you can try to target smaller organizations, network smartly, build visible projects that will attract more attention to your already existing skills. Then, you can upskill strategically, not endlessly. So what I mean by that is learn what's actually in demand in your field. Whilst doing all of this though, you should also protect your mental health. You can set application limits, reject the promoted hustle culture guilds, because this can become toxic and lead you to procrastinating even looking for work. Lastly, side income equals survival. And by this I mean like freelancing, gig work. It's not ideal, but sometimes it's essential. Now, for the system, there is only so much you can do as an individual in a flawed system. In my perspective, what needs to change is more transparency in hiring practices. That means that even hiring platforms should push for some sort of evidence that the business and HR are actually legit, they are hiring, they exist, they are looking for somebody. Next, I think that universities need to actually help students transition out of the education system. I'm not talking about useless career newsletter where 1,000 other people apply and it's like really bad suggestions. I'm talking real industry connections to people who work in the fields that people are studying in and who can give them a real recommendation or help get them an internship. But there's so much to talk about, especially when it comes to how universities are essentially pushing students out the window with no ropes once they graduate. But more on that in another video. Next is real job specifications. So no more competitive salary BS on job listings. And if a company is looking for X numbers of years of experience, they need to specify that instead of putting a vague, ideally you'd be interested in trends, and then hit you with a generic, we went with another candidate whose experience more closely aligned with our goals. We also need to normalize non-linear paths and support alternatives to traditional employment. Lastly, we need to hold HR and companies accountable for unethical job posting practices. What I mean by that is, if they post a ghost job or a fake listing, then we should boycott them, honestly. Hopefully though, things will clear up soon and the job market will go back to its normal state. Even though this video ends here, our journey together doesn't have to take the same route, so please make sure to subscribe if you've enjoyed it, because there is more where that came from, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!